I would come and talk to you and actually try to hold a conversation with you, although right now it's being silent. This morning I read a front page article in the New York Times that talked about the parents who oppose mandatory vaccination as simply misguided parents who oppose vaccination altogether. And I wanted to tell you that as a reporter who's been in the business for a long time, I thought there could be nothing further from the truth. I'm a trained observer, and one of the things that I've observed about the people who are raising their voices in opposition to this is that you are among the most educated, most observant people that I've ever met. When you do investigative reporting, you know that eyewitness testimony is some of the most unreliable. And that's because the people giving testimony only observed an event in a very fleeting way. But you're people who watch day after day after day what has happened to your children. In some cases, you've witnessed it almost from birth. And quite frankly, I'm puzzled and very disturbed that there is no acknowledgement of this, at least in the mainstream media. I mean, as I was talking with my friends who gave you a ride out here today, you're portrayed as kind of like a loopy fringe. You know, biopharma Luddites, vaccines. Oh my God! You know, these are terrible things, and you're portrayed as people who don't think. And I found nothing further from the truth. Now, I wanted to give you something to think about. I don't know how many of you are from New Jersey, but in the early 1950s, and I realize I'm going quite far back now, the United States Army administered an unlicensed influenza vaccine that contained a mineral oil adjuvant to 44,000 troops at Fort Dix. They didn't tell them they were doing it. They didn't ask for their permission. They just gave it to them. And they then studied them for 20 years, never telling them that they were under surveillance. The vaccine was never licensed. The people who funded this study, apart from the Armed Forces Epidemiological Board, included the National Academy of Sciences and the National Cancer Society. I'll tell you another story. The Willowbrook School, Staten Island. The children with parents with mentally handicapped kids who wanted to get their children into this institution had to agree to enroll their kids in a hepatitis B study. They were led to believe by the investigators that their children would be getting a hepatitis B vaccine. In fact, the doctors just shot them up with hepatitis B virus, and they watched the progression of the infection in their children. Now, you might ask yourself, what fiend could do such a thing? Who could think of something like that? And I'll tell you who. Well, I'm going to, out of respect for the dead, I'm going to withhold his name. But I will tell you that he was the president of the American Pediatric Society. He was chief of pediatric medicine at New York University Medical School. And he was a senior member of the National Academy of Sciences and the National American Academy of Arts and Sciences. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because the people making these decisions, right or wrong, are not fellows who wear uniforms, swastikas, and jackboots. They are the pillars of the establishment. And although their reasoning may be, although they may have been well-intended, and I'm being very generous there, I would say that the one thing that the one takeaway lesson we can take from that is that they may not know what they're doing. They may be making mistakes for one reason or another. It may be a medical mistake, it may be an ethical mistake. But they are not infallible. And because they are not infallible, do you really want someone else making a choice for you and your children? And again, I am fortunate not to have had a vaccine-injured child. I have a 15-year-old daughter. I'm very concerned about her getting certain vaccines, and I'm very vigilant about it. And I just want to say that I hope that my colleagues in the media begin to recognize what is before them, what is right in front of their eyes. And we're talking about educated, concerned parents who have been especially conscientious in getting their kids vaccinated, and then seeing as a result harm, seeing as a result injury, seeing as a result suffering. You are, again, among the most vigilant, observant, educated, and I must say, given the circumstances, tolerant people I've ever met. And again, the one thing I hope for all of you is that you get a hearing. Thank you very much.